as a veteran and as a farmer in support of Sweet Heel and the other farmers and making sure that they are able to have legislative reform that's going to be beneficial for their livelihood and for those that rely on their products, the products that they create with integrity and customers in mind.
Thanks, Alan. I guess I'll jump in, Ken, next. My name is Mike Goodenough. I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I'm also a hemp farmer. I'm fifth generation in this state, in the state of Connecticut. We transplanted into this state and we were supposed to be able to sustain. My family has been bleeding over the soil and the land of this state for 5 generations, and I prayed that I could give it to a 6th, and that's not going to happen. It's because I followed after begging. I've been testifying for 9 years with you people, 9 years, and I begged you to help our farmers have a crop with the USDA so that we could survive and have something different to go to market with. And you granted that in 2018. In 2018, 0.3% THC was the number that we went towards. That was the number that held federally. There are federal guidelines which have money put behind those guidelines to come up with numbers and not guess and pie in the sky and wonder what 0.5 milligrams is compared to 1 milligram, compared to 5 milligrams. There's federal funding to give you guidelines so that you don't diminish and hurt the federally protected farmer that is growing a federally legal product, which you have now made illegal. And you are forcing us to sell in an illegal, federally illegal market in order to avoid selling illegal narcotics in your retail stores, which are licensed and insured. How does this make sense? The products that are being sold in your stores are not hemp derived. Stop putting them into our industry. They do not come from my people. They do not come from my farmers. I manufacture over 110 products, 110 different brands around the country. I have 40 here in the state of Connecticut. Not one of them manufacture a product that is illegal and in any of those stores. Yet you say it's my hemp that is causing this problem. Those are illegal narcotics that are being brought in by drug industries that are covering themselves up with my term hemp. And you are now punishing my farmers. You are now punishing what is federally legal and turning it into something illegal because you don't know how to control it. You have the greatest education system. Connecticut's EDU is stronger than any other EDU in the entire country. We have UMass, we have UConn, we have Eastern, we have numerous universities who have been digging into this since day one. Dr. Berkowitz has been running with this since 2015. And for you to turn around and be sourcing or looking for education from anyone other than our own EDU on what does a milligram do or doesn't do is ludicrous. I do not understand what we're doing. And I do not understand how we're going to backpedal now and hurt those farmers and those small businesses. Do you know 50% of our CBD shops have closed down since you made your new laws, which you still can't police the ranks of? You have people here testifying that they're still able to buy drugs in their local stores, but you're going to come at us deeper to 0.5 milligrams per vessel. That's ludicrous. Based off of what science? If you want to know what 5 milligrams does, then go talk to the people who are doing the driving studies in your own state, and they're analyzing people consuming THC and then what that inebriation actually does. Start taking responsibility because you're killing us. Literally, I have vets who are checking themselves into mental institutions because what's happening in this room is impacting them greater than the combat that they served in to protect the flag that sits behind you. I have people who are losing their farms after generations. I have store owners and entrepreneurs who are already enabled and trying to rise up and have been and have put money and time into their local community who are shutting their doors because of the audacity that comes from these new laws. It's ridiculous. And I beg you, make a change. All I see here is separation. I don't want this person to have an opportunity over there. I don't want this person to do this. I don't want somebody else to have something more. Well, let me tell you what I want. I want us all to thrive and succeed. I want us to be unified. We created the Connecticut Cannabis Small Business Alliance, which takes everyone from a basic user to a store owner, to the people who are making the tires for the security trucks, to our farmers, to every single individual within the industry. And we are offering you a bill that has recommendations on how to rectify this mess that we have in front of us, this mess which is ruining lives. Please
Does your
understand.
companion have anything he wants to add? Thank you.
Yes, I would like to present the bill we wrote.
Give it to MJ.
Yeah, the clerk.
Clerk. Thank you. You want to give a summary of what's in it?
Yes, so let me just introduce myself. My name is Kenneth Bastian. I'm the owner of CT Hemp Shop, and I'm the owner of AI Web Tools LLC, and I am the managing director for Connecticut Cannabis Small Business Alliance. I've been extremely affected by your last legislation. Okay. 95% of my products have become illegal, and none of them are psychoactive. None of them.
Mhm.
Okay. I recognize you. Yeah. You were at my shop. Anyways, I sit here before you today and I say, please listen. Okay. All of our small businesses are being completely decimated, not included in this industry at all. All right. You guys say it's equitable. How is it equitable? How is it equitable? We're shutting down CBD shops with non-psychoactive products only to let big MSOs sell them, Mr. DeAgostino. You have an answer for that?
So we're happy to take your testimony, guys. Is there, if you have any further testimony you'd like to add? We've got some more people behind you.
We'd
So
like the labs to not cost so much in the state. We can't support anything small batch. That $1,500, divide that across a farmer who wants to make 100 tinctures. That 100 tinctures would be $15 just to be on the store floor, just in lab costs. We would like to make sure that all the CBD that's going into these dispensaries isn't coming from Oregon and the large MSOs who are bringing in those products today. Every bit of CBD in those spaces have not come from a single hemp farmer within this state. Not only do we want that, but we'd like for the distribution. The simple fix to this whole problem is distribution. If there was somebody who handled distribution and verified what they're selling to these stores like they do for every other regulated product that we have, then there would be no problem. The distributors would be the ones to hold accountable. Instead, we're making new rules. And I trust me, I know you guys are trying your best in certain areas, but we're stuck in this vortex of complexity and things we don't understand. We would like the EDUs become more involved. We would seriously like you to turn to our local EDUs and the professors who are teaching this to the next generation, because they're what's important. These are the CEOs and the people who are going to drive the companies of our future. And right now, they're just as confused as you are. And that's insane. We'd also like for you to look at what I grow as a crop. It doesn't need to be destroyed in a year. Basic agriculture tells you to store a certain percentage of your harvest for 3 years in case there's a drought or a blight. We would like for you to take into consideration the integration of small businesses and models that help a small business owner not have to incur the fees that are equal to the large size enterprise. They're never going to survive having to pay the same prices for their point of sale systems, for the delivery fees, and everything else associated. We'd like you to put on your economics hat and actually take a look at what's happening with the small businesses around us and enable them to be successful within the cannabis business, not just lock everything into the THC realm of the dispensaries, which right now are controlled by a large group of people who are large size enterprise. Everybody uses the term MSO. It's the wrong term. A large size enterprise has to act a certain way. It is their business. It is different than mid-size and it is different than small, but make an envelope equal to the small and to the mid-size business so we can succeed too. We cannot reach their level. And we're also asking that you follow the federal guidelines that are actually put out there for you. The reality is those guidelines are things that answer questions and have money and components that go behind them. I'm also asking you to look at your extraction. You're asking us to not produce anything with chemicals. You want it considered to be a synthetic. But then you're telling me to remove the THC from my hemp. Do you understand that you're saying use a chemical to do that? The only way to get rid of THC out of my hemp is with chemicals. You have to think about what you're putting in front of us. It doesn't make any sense. You've built an industry and now you're tearing it asunder. And Representative DiAgostino, you said that you only had one marketplace. You don't. The hemp marketplace was here first at 0.3%. And that was there very specifically before the cannabis business was. And now there's a cannabis business. And oh, by the way, we gave away gifting and grow at home. That's a third market. You have three markets that we need to address. And by locking THC into one of them, doesn't change anything.
Well said. Other questions? Representative Osborne.
Thank you for your comments. I'm actually very touched by your impassioned plea to us here today, and I have a very specific question. With respect to an organic product and us saying we don't want chemicals, we don't want chemistry used on this, I know you've been here all day, so I know you've heard the other testimony. Does the cannabinoid, and I'm going to get it wrong.
You're all right. Go for it.
The ratio that you've heard prior people testify about,
Yeah.
having that CBD ratio to THC, does that remove the issue of not having to use chemistry to have the THC
100%.
not be intoxicating?
100%.
So if we were to adopt a
Cannabinoid, I say cannabinoid because I say cannabis, not cannabis.
Okay.
And so say it any way you feel comfortable.
So adopting that kind of cannabinoid ratio would, in your opinion, solve that intoxicating problem of the THC because it will be coupled with these other cannabinoids.
So intoxication is 5 milligrams is what your current driving studies are showing. 5 milligrams is what gets someone to a point where they shouldn't be behind a car. And we don't want anybody driving behind us. My biggest concern are people who consume things then get behind the wheel. Granted, don't want children to have it and everything else. But first and foremost, the reality is that 20-to-1 ratio gives you a ratio where it matches the need to be able to put a 3,000 or 2,000 milligram tincture out there to help those patients. And no, it won't be psychotropic. But put your hats on for a minute. The digestive tract in the upper portion of the body digests almost immediately, as opposed to an edible, which goes to the stomach. Each one of our membranes absorb differently. Something that's applied to the skin is not going to get you high. This organ doesn't impact or absorb in the same way. Just think about it the way you normally would take anything else, whether it's a pill, whether it's smoking. Smoking's instantaneous. It has a shorter lifespan. Every one of our organs are a different method of delivery. And the reality is I get the drinks. I truly get the drinks. It's your upper digestive tract and it's instantaneous. And I wouldn't want anybody consuming rapidly in that mannerism, especially if they're also consuming other things, unless their intent was for that. And so we have to remember which organ and why we want to control that level of that organ. You could put 1,000 milligrams on your skin and it's not going to affect you. And that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. But the point is, each organ is radically different. And I get the drinks. I truly do. That's the cleanest organ for most people. Whereas the rest of us pollute the rest of the organs that are there, whether it's smoking, whether we have bad gut health, whether it's all of the other layers there have different impact. So I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, thank you for your help in educating me. I appreciate your testimony today.
And we're here to help. We're here to give you guys as CCSBA ears to every layer of the vertical that's there. Every small business that exists. If you want to talk science, we'll talk science. I'll bring in professors and assistant deans from 7 different universities because I work with all of them. They all send students to my farm to learn from. I've yet to see one person come to my farm, although I've extended the invitation radically to every individual at every testimony. And I'll do it again here today. If you want to have discussions around any of these variables, come have those discussions.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. This is not a debate over what level of THC here and who's got what and who's making it. This is much simpler. Okay, you make products with THC in it.
Yes.
I don't care about the level. You make products with THC in it.
Mhm.
Yes. After we did your market, we went through a whole process where we created a new regulatory marketplace for THC products. And right now, we have multiple marketplaces open for these products. And philosophically, what this legislature decided, now maybe they're going to change their mind. I don't know. is that there should be one path for those products, regardless of level. I hear what you're saying. Oh, don't worry about it. I can drink a drink with this much and I won't be intoxicated. But if I drink a drink with this much, I will be intoxicated, and I can put this on. We're simple people up here for the most part. All right. And for the most part, what resonates with us is we spend a lot of time and effort creating a marketplace for THC products, and you want your own marketplace for it. The package stores want their own marketplace for it. Somebody else wants a marketplace for it. I understand. I understand from your perspective, it's completely different products. I get that. I'm trying to explain to you what's driving this bill.
Yes, sir.
And
I get that.
and we have said, and
But I don't want.
I want to
I don't- I don't-
reiterate,
I
and I
don't
want to
mean correct you,
reiterate.
But we don't want. We have already taken and built our businesses and built our farms around something that you've already made legal.
Yep, and this
supported us to do.
This would alter that. I recognize that.
So you're going to destroy every small business and every farm. Then just tell us. Tell us you're shutting down hemp, because I spent $80,000 last year rebranding to your new labels and your new labs. I bled as deep as I could bleed to try and match your new laws, and now you're going to give me new ones.
We made pretty
Can we
clear
just ask
last
you to
year.
read our definition we wrote that literally addresses the problem you're trying to close the loophole for?
We will. We're looking.
Thank you.
But I want to be very clear that we are not looking to prevent these products from being made or sold in Connecticut. And to the extent that we need to refine and readdress our law, we thought we did this last year, but to the extent we didn't, we will make it absolutely clear that these products can be sold and can be made. They just need to be sold and made in
By your
accordance
people.
with the regulated structure. That is different than the one you're operating with now. I get that. I totally get that. And it's not fair at all.
So my house loan was called in because I might be getting my money from cannabis. From cannabis.
I'm sorry, sir, but listen to me. The regulatory structure of the state of Connecticut is our responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Not your mortgage. I'm sorry you got into a field knowing full well, by the way, that the state was going to regulate a competing marketplace for it, and now have to react to that. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure your products can be sold.
My products are federally legal.
But our responsibility is not your mortgage. Our responsibility is to the entire state of Connecticut and a regulated marketplace for cannabis.
Correct.
And to sit here and say, forget it, don't worry, we should allow an entirely separate marketplace to exist with 20-to-1 ratios and a separate testing scheme and products that still get you intoxicated, right? I mean, I can smoke a number of joints or edibles that you guys make and get the same level of intoxication.
No, illegal products that don't match these standards can get you high, but that's not our products. We're getting thrown
higher
into
than
a bucket.
20%.
We're happy to have your products sold in our stores, right?
In your dispensaries, which are not federally legal, which takes my business and my farm, and it puts it into now not being federally legal.
Look, you've made your case. If this legislature wants to have a separate marketplace, frankly unregulated, or less regulated for your products, that's what they'll do.
It exists, sir, federally in every single state
I can go on
already.
Amazon and order things. And
Yeah,
are you going to stop that?
The out-of-state stuff, we know we have an enforcement issue with. That's a separate issue.
So you're going to let Amazon sell
No,
things to my
we're-
neighbor,
we're-
but
we
not
don't-
small business.
The idea here is that all of this stuff, it'll make it a lot easier to just regulate and ban, because we can look at it and say,
You can't ban Amazon from selling it or sending it.
well,
You can't do anything.
we're
So
Our
you're
state
literally
can't
doing
impose laws on
something
somebody in
against
another state,
only
sir.
your people.
yeah, we're
You don't
Just
care.
us.
we can
Say it.
regulate.
You don't care.
We can regulate THC in the state, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we have done.
And
But
I'll-
look, I get it. You guys have made your case. You've made you're going to get a chance to testify too. Are you guys? Hey, the way this works is you sit down and you testify. Are you guys all set? If we have any further questions for members, I'm going to ask you. Any questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Up next, I have TJ Elgin.